let's get going here. Today we're going to be working on problem 20 in Advent of Code 2016. Advent of Code starting up next week, next Thursday, I think, if I remember my days correctly. Yep. So December 1st is Thursday next week. So we're going to be cutting it close, given the fact that this week is a holiday week in the States. I don't know if I'm going to have time to finish all of this, but hopefully I will before 2022 starts. Yeah, let's find out what this is all about. Day 20 Firewall rules. You'd like to set up a small hidden computer here. Where's here? Oh, that's right. We're in the Easter Bunny headquarters or something like that. Right. If we look at the calendar, we're climbing our way up the building here. So now looks like we're on the top floor of the current one. Nice. You'd like to set up a small hidden computer here so you can use it to get back into the network later. However, the corporate firewall only allows communication with certain external IP addresses. That's just IPv4. Okay. You've retrieved the list of blocked IPs from the firewall, but the list seems to be messy and poorly maintained, and it's not clear which IPs are allowed. Also, rather than being written in the dot decimal notation, they are written as plain 32-bit integers, which can have any value from 0 through whatever this number is, inclusive. For example, suppose only the values 0 through 9 were valid, that you retrieved the following blacklist. The blacklist specifies ranges of IPs, inclusive of both the start and end value, that are not allowed. Then only IPs that this firewall allows are 3 and 9, since those are the only numbers not in any range. Given the list of blocked IPs you retrieve from the firewall, which is the lowest value IP that is not blocked? Okay. We did something similar in Grind 75. It was called insert interval, where we were given ranges of numbers, and we had to figure out where to insert this new range given the existing range. So we can start off with a range of empty, and then you basically use the same logic to take a look at and then after we've inserted everything, I guess we could just print out all the ones that are, or count up all the ones that aren't blocked. And we only care about the lowest value. So all we have to do is look for the first range, and then look for the first one after the first range. That should give us our lowest value. Okay. So let's do that. Let's do this. Let's do this. This is day 20. And day 20. Create the file. Go to the file. Print the file 2016-20. And then make sure that we have. Once we flip over to run, it says unsolved. Good. Let's take a look at the input. Get input 2016-20. 1,029 entries, it says. So there's a bunch to work through. Okay, so this is just ranges of integers with a dash between them. That should be pretty easy to parse, right? I don't see any issues there. Well, let's get the input in first. Git commit. Sorry, git add this. Git commit -m 2016 day 20 input. Okay. Right. I should do the no verify on the inputs. Okay. And then we just need this file here. And then we can parse the input. Should we do a test thing first? We can just create a little function which we can give it ranges, start and end ranges, and then it can print out the lowest IP. We can do that. How do we want to store these? I guess we could just store them as vec of tuples. That might be the easiest way to do it. I can do it this simply. I can say type range equals. Now this is going to this. I think this is U32 max. I think. Let's take a look. We can just do this. U32 max with a capital M. And we can compare these numbers. Hello? Oh, I didn't save it. 42949. Yeah, 67. Sorry, 295. Okay. So yeah, it's U32 max. So that gives us our range type. So we can just say type range is equal to U32, U32. And then we can just create a vector of ranges and say, oh, we need a function which takes in a vector. Do we want to do that? We want to take in a vector and then return a new vector, or do we want to modify an existing vector? I don't know if we want to. I think maybe that's a simpler way to do it, reducing the number of allocations. No. I think in our code over here, what we did was we just created new, and it seems to be gone, or it forgotten me or whatever. Does it still have? I'd have to sign in. I'm not going to sign in online because you never do that. Okay. But I think well, we actually have the code, right? I can take a look at. I think I have another window here. I do not. I can create another one here. Documents dev Rust lib. No. Rust links. There we are. Lib. And it was called insert interval. Yeah. Yeah. So what I did was this took in a vec of I32s, and then it generated a new vec of I32s. That might be slow, but there's only 1,000 entries, so let's just do it that way for now, and then if it's slow, it's slow, and we'll fix it. So we'll just call it insert interval, right? Why not? We get a source, which is going to be a vec of ranges. And a new interval, which is just a range, and that'll return a vec of ranges. Okay, so then all we need to do, let mod result is equal to vec new, and then we can just sort of copy this. It'll be a little different for entry in source. I guess we're consuming that, right? If entry.0 is greater than, oh, that's right, to insert, let mod to insert equals insert. I guess that'll just copy it. Let mod push equals false. If entry.0 is greater than to insert.1, then we're going to say dot pushed result push to insert clone. Oh, am I going to be able to do that? Can I do this? Oh no, because then it's going to be okay. Yeah, I might have to derive clone. Can you derive things on types like this? We're about to find out. Pushed equals true. And then result.push entry. And then else if entry.1 is less than to insert.0, result push entry. Else to insert. insert.0 is equal to 2 insert.0.min entry.0, and then change all these to 1s and change this to a max. And then we just return result. So this is just basically I copied this, but I changed it to be tuples instead of vex. And then we should be able to test this. Oops, we have to start with test mod first, and then test. Function. So I should be able to create a new insert test. We should be able to create a brand new vector. And leave it empty. Oh, I can just say let range, let R equals range 0 to 3. And then over here we'll flip back. And then say insert interval vec new range R. And then the actual should be a vec bang of range 0 to 3. Okay, what blows up? Dead code, insert interval. Oh, right, I want to run test. Yeah, so, oh, I meant to do this. Wait, so how do you create an entry of, if I say range is this, how do I create a range? Like that? Yeah, so how do I create this then? Oh, right, and I have to update the test. It's not 18 anymore, we're on 20. Test. Okay, so it didn't work. Oh, right, did I forget the final push? Yeah, this final push here. Okay. If not pushed, result push to insert. And that runs, and okay, that test passes. Okay, so then it's kind of bugging me that I can't just do range like that, but we should be able to do this now. If I say test second insert, so we should be able to insert 2, and let's actually do all 3, right? And with the search between, maybe let R range equals 5, 8. Right, 0, 2, comma 4, 8. If I do an insert interval vec bang 5, 8, comma 0, 2, comma 4, 7. Oh no, I have to do it one step at a time. Right. Let first is equal to insert interval vec bang with 5, 8. That's the first interval. And then the second, taking the first one and inserting 0 to 2. And then the third takes the second one and inserts 4 to 7. Geez. And then this should be third. All right, let's see if that works. It does. Okay, so it correctly merged the ranges as expected. So now we have to do the work of, oh, we need to find this, the lowest valued IP not blocked. Okay. So that's easy enough. We can make that just part of part one. Parse. So let lines equal to AOC lib read lines input slash 2016 20 text. And then what we're going to do in here is just make this part of, we'll call it blacklist, since that's what it is. That's a vector range. Blacklist vec new. All right. We're getting there. Now we need to parse out these entries. So we're going to say for L in lines, and we do a split once. Let low high is equal to L dot split once on hyphen unwrap. Yeah, and those are both strings. And then we can say let low is equal to low dot parse u32 dot unwrap, and same with high. And then we want to say insert interval self black list low high self blacklist equals. And then let's just print out the right now for just to start out with, we can say self blacklist.len and see if it's 1,000 and whatever it was. Move occurs. Oh. I wonder if we can do this. Doesn't like entry. Oh, so this has to be cloned. These all have to be cloned. Can I duplicate them this way? Yeah. Okay. Except now we have problems here with our tests. All right, let's fix the tests. Okay, tests passed, and if I hit run, it says 170. Oh, right. So we would have merged everything together. I was thinking it was supposed to be the number of lines, but it isn't, right? Because we're merging everything together. It's saying there's 170 ranges. Okay, so now what we want to have is for the output, assuming this all worked, if self blacklist of 0 dot 0, right? If the start of the range is greater than 0, then create output 0. Right? Because then that means the blacklist starts at some number higher than 0. We can actually just print it out and take a look. Println self blacklist of 0. I wonder if it'll print it out that way, or if we can, does it automatically derive debug? Otherwise, create output self blacklist of 0.1 plus 1, because these are all inclusive ranges, right? So we want to find the first range, or the end of the first range plus 1. Let's see what this does. Yeah, okay, so the first range starts at 0. Fair enough. And so the next number after the start of the range is this one. Sorry, the next number after the first range is this one. So this has got to be it. Oh, the answer is too low. Okay, so we're not merging correctly then. All right, let's figure out what's going on here. If entry 0 is greater than 2 insert 1, right? So the new entry we're doing, the beginning of the new entry we're doing and we're looking at is bigger than the end of the range we're inserting. That means the range that we're inserting has to come before it. So we insert it here. We don't clear it out or anything, but we do set push to true, so that gets ignored. And then we push the entry. If entry of 1, in other words, the end of the entry we're looking at is less than the beginning of the next entry, beginning of the entry we're trying to insert, then we'll push it. Yeah, that looks all correct. Wonder if we're getting hung up here. Let's write a test which just checks, because I think maybe it's the inclusiveness. Because the code we wrote for insert interval is exclusive of the top range of the so if you have a 1 to 3 and a 4 to 6, the insert interval will have 2 intervals, right? Whereas here 1 to 3, 4 to 6 means it should be 1 to 6 for the range. Check inclusive endings. So I'm expecting vecbang 1 to 6. If we start with vecbang 1 to 3 and we want to insert 4 to 6, and I think this is going to fail. I think that's what the bug is. Yeah. It has 1 to 3, 4 to 6, and we should be coming up with 1 to 6. Okay, so I think that just means we just need to check if entry is greater than that plus 1, and if entry is greater than that, less than that minus 1. Oh, I don't want to use minus 1 because we're using unsigned, so I can just say plus 1 on this side, right? Yeah, okay, so now the ranges get merged correctly. Here, check inclusive endings. All right, so that means if I hit run now, it should come up with a different number, attempt to add with overflow. Brilliant. And that's on line 52. Oh, okay. That means this is at the final range thing. I wonder if we should flip these around, because this will be true then, right? That might be an easier approach to. Like that. Nope. I honestly thought that would work. Oh well. If we're trying to insert, yeah. All we need to do is check to see if to insert is already at a max. And that would actually mean that this is false. Right? If to insert 1 is max, and entry 1 plus 1 is not. If I pull this away, that's gonna. What's that's gonna? Oh, it still panics on this line now, because this is too high. And if I do a subtraction, it's going to fail on when we hit 0. Oh, that's exciting. I wonder then if I can just cheat. Let's put this back, and I'm just going to cheat. Denny1111 says wrapping add. Yeah, I don't want to wrap down to 0 though, because then it's gonna give us a it's gonna say, are we greater than 0 here, and we are, and we shouldn't be doing this yet. So I'm gonna cheat and just extend the range out to 64 bits, and that should. Oh, right, I have to fix all my parsing. All right, so we have a different answer now. Oh, I should get rid of this print. And let's see if this number is more correct than the previous one. It is. That's good news. Denny says that's going to suck. Yeah, because so the wrapping add would end up making this wrap around to 0, and then we'd say if entry 0 is greater than 0, and of course it is, so it'll come through here, and we don't want it to come through here when this is beyond the end of the range. So I'm cheating just to make life a little easier, but I could, I suppose, add more if conditions here about to insert being at the end of the range or entry being at the end of the range and stuff like that, but this seems like an easier fix. Now there's a bug here if the entire range is blacklisted, but since we're doing 64s, we'll just get the next one, so it'll be fine. All right, that's part 1. Let's see what Clippy has to say. Oh, Clippy says we don't have to clone that. I thought we would have to because we're going to be continuing to reference to insert, but still runs and test. All the tests still pass. Okay, that's good. We don't have to clone that. Git status, git add source, git commit -m 2016 day 20 part 1. All right, let's take a look at what part 2 is. That's all the way down here. How many IPs are allowed by the blacklist? Okay. So that's going to be, we walk the blacklist and then subtract the difference between the end of the start of the next range and the end of the current range. Right? So we can say let mut allowed is equal to 0. For entry in self blacklist. Oh, I want to look at the previous one and the next one. So maybe we can do Windows iter Windows 2. No, I guess you can't do that. How do you do the Windows? I always forget how to do this. Oh, it took that. Okay. So this is entry is now an array of 2 blacklist entries, 2 ranges. So now what we do is we say allowed plus equals entry of 1. Is it a vec? It's a slice. Okay. Entry of 1 dot 0 minus entry of 0 dot 1. and then allowed. The last one, there could be, well, we know that this goes to the U32 limit, so there won't be anything at the end of the range, but a more general purpose solution would also add in any ranges that are at the end of, so it'd be allowed plus equals U32 max minus self blacklist len minus 1.1. So the last blacklist entry .1, which is the end of that range, subtracted from this guy. Does that make sense? Does this all? So we should be able to actually, we should be able to test. Let's write a test. Actually make this a separate piece of code, so we can test it. Count allowed, and then just give it a blacklist, which is going to be a vec of range, and it'll return usize. So we can just return this plus this, right? And then we know with this one, the range goes from 0 to 9. Yeah, this is always going to do U32 max. Which is this going to give us a problem because it's U32 and it's subtracting it from a U64? Well, we'll find out. So how do we want to test this then? Check allowed. If I have this as a range, oops. I wanted to yank it and paste it there. Count allowed. It's going to be U32 max minus 8 plus 1. Right? Minus the top one plus the 1 in the middle. Like that. All right, let's see if that builds. Of course it doesn't. Let's just put 0 there for now. And this is no longer self blacklist windows. It's just blacklist, and then blacklist. Yeah, so I can say as U60, as U32. It thinks it's a U64 even though I'm returning it. Let's just say usize. So I can do this as U64 and then wrap this whole thing as a usize. And it doesn't like that either because now I have to do this. As usize, as usize. Oh, and I put a semicolon there. Okay. And now these all fail. Wow. Oh, because I need to put it, it's a reference. still doesn't like it because it's expected use size found U32. Oh, because of this thing here. Okay. Off by 1. So oh, right. I got expected and actual backwards again. So we're expecting 88, 288, and we got 289. So there's 1 extra in this. So okay, let's take a look here. So the entry 1 start minus the entry 0 end. So if we have a range that goes from 5 to 10, and then we have a range that goes from 12 to 15, it's the entry end. Oh, entry end minus entry start. There's only 1 number in the middle there. Oops. I can't believe I deleted that. 5 to 10. We have 11 in here and then 12 to 15. Right? So that means that we want to do the start of this range minus the end of this range minus 1. There we go. Stephen, hi. Stephen says, just clone the NVIM configuration from your GitHub. I love it. Now I just have to get Rust Analyzer working. Thank you for sharing. Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Actually, it's from Togglebit. So Togglebit is the one who I cloned originally. So if you want to keep up to date with his, it's all here. I'll throw this in the chat too. So you can take a look. Basically I stole his config. There's a bunch of changes I'd still like to make to it because there's a bunch of no Lua stuff, and I'd like to do like a pure Lua config, but it's fine. It's working. That's what I'm happy about. All right. So the tests are passing now. That's the good news. That means if I hit run, oh, we're not even calling it. Let's call it. That might be an idea. Count allowed self blacklist. Oh, what am I doing? That was weird. Let's go here instead. Count allowed. I'm just trying to go too fast. That's my problem. All right, we got 117. There we go. Very nice. Very cool. All right, let's see what Clippy has to say. Clippy likes it. Let's push it. Git status, git commit -m 2016 day 20 part 2. Oops. Let's try that instead. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That was day 20. I should have enough time to do day 21, depending on how hard it is. So we just reached the top of this building. So I'm curious now, were we in this tower here?